So welcome to this global network training session. My name is Alexander Loschke, and together with Yushi Sang, we are leading the global network of data officers and statisticians. The global network has grown within a few months to a community of over 1,300 colleagues from NSOs, the UN system, and other regional and international organizations around the world who are now interacting, discussing, and sharing about their activities on the network. The creation of the global network and its growth has been supported substantially over the last couple of months by Bridget Perrin, who is our main speaker today. Bridget will talk about how to create, facilitate, and maintain efficient groups on the global network of data officers and statisticians. The group feature is particularly useful as our global network becomes now more crowded. It allows you to focus on specific topics or issues among a smaller group of people, or allows you to have focused discussions with countries in a particular region. In this training today, you will learn why and when to create a group on the global network, the conditions for a group to be active and useful to its members. You will hear about different use cases for groups, how to prepare the launch of a group, and what you need to do technically to create a group. We would like to focus especially on the best practices and current experiences around groups. Let me now introduce the speakers. So Bridget is a communication expert who has supported the digital transformation of communication at the UN for the last 10 years. She's currently a consultant for the UN Statistics Division here in New York and has been providing advice on the facilitation of the global network since its launch in October 2020. Yushi and I both work for the UN Statistics Division. Yushi joined UNSD last year and works mainly on SDG indicators and the SDG reports, including its progress charts. I work on statistical capacity management and coordination, and I'm one of the two organizers of the UNSD Brown Bags and have also developed our new global calendar of statistical events. So before we start now, just some final things. Please feel free to raise your hand at any time to ask questions. If you want to ask a question in Arabic or Spanish, please do so. Wafa and I will do our best to translate the questions. This training session is being recorded and will be made available on the global network. And please, again, keep your microphones muted. I will hand over now to Bridget. Bridget, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alex. I'm glad to be with you today to talk about groups. I think that most of you are already members of the global network. And today we will really have a look inside these groups and see whether it's a good idea or not, or what needs to be prepared in order to launch a successful group and to maintain it over time and as long as possible. So let me share my screen first. Okay. So first of all, I wanted to share with you this small sentence from Margaret Mead, who was an anthropologist, an American anthropologist who was studying groups in Oceania long ago. So, of course, a small group of thoughtful people could change the world. And you around here, not this table, but here on the call, may change the world with a group. Who knows, right? Okay. So Alex went through the program of today. What you will get after having followed this webinar is really to have an idea, should I launch my group or not, or what should I prepare in order to have a successful group. First of all, I want to go with you through what we are talking about today. As Alex mentioned, we have over 1,300 people in the global network today, which is a big number. And of course, with such a big number, there are some issues that are not of interest for every single person in the group. So this is why we are talking about calling smaller groups to discuss specific issues. So in the global network, there is an all network group where everybody can write and talk and post about events, about whatever is happening. And we also have already a couple of closed groups and open groups, which were created over the past few months. A little information for you. For those of you who are using Yammer on mobile apps, in Yammer, groups are called communities, but it's exactly the same thing. So don't worry if you don't find a group on mobile devices. So how does it look? This is the global network. An all network group is here. This is where you can find all the information, and you may have already joined a couple of groups, and if not, you can click on discover more groups and you will get a list of the groups you can join. And the private groups you will need to request to join, and you will have to be accepted in the group. This is how it looks when you enter a group like machine learning. It looks like this, and you can start a conversation exactly like in the main group. On mobile devices, it looks a little bit different. Again, communities and not groups. You can still choose over the same list of groups. You can find all the same thing as on the computer. And when you're clicking on one of the groups, you will find this kind of presentation. And when you look at your feed, it's exactly like on Facebook. For those of you who are on Facebook, you will see in your feed all the newest posts from groups coming in your feed. So it means you don't have to go every single day in each of the groups to see what's happening here. The newest information will come in your feed. First of all, because you are probably members of different types of groups in your life, I would like you to join this website, slido.com, or to scan this QR code. And I would like to know, what is your biggest daily challenge? And you will see that you will most probably be in a group today in this call. If you click on this, you just answer to the question. There is only one answer that is possible. What is your biggest daily challenge? I let you 1 minute to answer. It's not going to take a lot of time. There is only one question. And I'm not sure if you can see the answers. Otherwise, I may share my screen so you will have a look at the answer. So let me share my screen to see the results. Okay, so there are people in each category, as you can see. So there is a group, like a big group of people who have the challenge of working on deadlines in advance. So these people have a common challenge. And if we would create a group today, maybe on Yammer, then the people who clicked on this answer may work together to find a solution on how to work a little bit in advance when you have deadlines. Another group would be answering to all the incoming emails, and they could share maybe some practical tips and tools to manage emails. Other people want to do sports, so they may share some apps where you can monitor your activities, or spending 3 full hours without a meeting. There are also some tips you could exchange about that. So this is to show you that in any community, like the one you are today, there is an opportunity to create groups. But in order for the groups to be successful and to be useful to its members, this group needs to have a purpose, needs to have a question to answer, or any kind of challenge. Thank you for your answers. So many people want some advice on working on deadlines in advance. I have to admit that most of these challenges, I have them all. Thank you very much for your answers. Now I'm coming back to I'm not sure if you can see my screen now. Not
yet.
Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Okay,
No problem.
good. Now it's fine. It takes some time, but it's useful to make an experiment. Can you see my screen, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you very much. So when and why creating groups? So a group is a community in the community. And think of a frying pan where you would have a fried egg. So the frying pan would be the place where you can exchange, is a place to start any kind of discussion. In this space, you could have a restricted community. And in this restricted community, you could have a common challenge. Of course, if this challenge is a little bit off focus or not targeted enough on a specific issue, the egg yolk could spill on the white, and then the purpose of the group would be less clear and people may be a little bit less engaged. So basically, the global network is providing this space where a restricted community gathers around a common challenge or a common topic and can start exchanging knowledge, exchanging useful information. So when is it a good idea to create a group? To create a group, you need to have a topic to address or a challenge. And you may wish to receive or ask feedback about this challenge or exchange information. And you want to engage more people to try to answer this question or to find a solution. And you may wish to engage peers who you know have expertise on that topic. And you think also that the 1,300 people in the global network is a too wide audience for your challenge that is a little bit specific. It could be also that you used to meet in person with colleagues, but you cannot anymore, and you are looking for a place where you could exchange without being in person, without meeting in person. Now, when is it not a good idea, at least yet, to create a group? Of course, before creating a group, you need to figure out what is needed. And if you realize that you have no time and no resources, there's no chance that you can manage a group because it takes time, obviously. Maybe there is another group with a similar focus that already exists. Could be on the global network or somewhere else, and you don't want to replicate this. It would be sensitive to have two groups doing the same thing. You have absolutely no idea who could be interested in such a group. So this is maybe something you can try to do, but first you need to say, okay, I know that to create this group, I need to find people who are interested in this specific topic. You may not know them, but you need to figure out who you want to attract. If you have no clear objective, you just want to have a group because it's fun to have a group. This is not ready. You are not ready to start a group. And if you don't think there is a real need for a group, then it's obviously not a good idea to create one. And same applies if you're alone and you know that you cannot involve any colleagues, any people around you because they don't have time or resources. Now, the conditions for a group to work, to be active and successful, again, a clear audience, an objective, facilitators, at least a couple of people who have an expertise on the topic. It doesn't mean that everyone needs to have an expertise, because co-creation is also something interesting, but at least a couple of people who know what it is about. You need to be able to allocate time. If you allocate time to respond and also to curate content on the topic, it means finding articles, finding resources that could be useful to the group. This is really helpful. And you also need other people or champions, very active people who want to be involved, who believe in your challenge and really want to be more and more active in the group. If you exchange relevant information, create discussions, and share useful resources, then if you meet all these conditions, the group will be working fine. Now, to help you figuring out if it's a good idea or not to start a group, we have prepared a couple of questions. I will not go through all of them right now because it's a kind of to-do list and I don't want to bother you by reading a to-do list, but we will share with you at the end of this webinar this to-do list, complete to-do list of what to do and when to create a group. So again, the audience, you need to ask yourself, who are the members I want to gather? This is the first and probably the most important question, because even if you have an interesting topic, if you have no members, then the group won't work. At least you need to have relevant members, right? And you can think about creating a group, a local group or a language-oriented group. I know there are Arabic speakers and Spanish speakers in the group today. So why not creating a group about that? The second question you need to ask yourself before starting is why? Why do I want to gather people to discuss this? And what is the need that is not met by other means, by meetings, by expert groups, existing expert groups, or any other kind of gathering? And also something you need to think about is, what is the outcome? What do I want to achieve after 6 months, 1 year? What are really the long-term objectives of this group? And also ask yourself, is it really useful to create a group, or can I share whatever I have or whatever issue or challenge I have on the all network group? Third question is, what resources do I have to manage a group? It takes time. It takes time to be a member of the global network, but maybe you come to the office or not. Obviously, in the morning, you have a look at the global network. Everything that is new is popping up, and that's it. It takes you 5 minutes. But if you involve in facilitating a group, you will need a little bit more time, and you will need to monitor everything that has been posted. You need to think about interesting articles that could be useful to others as well, and you need to share them. So you may want to figure out what kind of content you are planning to post and how frequently you want to post. Then, last question, how much do I want to put in it? How do I plan to measure the success? What happens if I change job or position and this group is very active? Who can take over the group? And again, am I ready to spend time daily monitoring a group? Now, I will give the floor to Alex, who will talk about different use cases for groups.
Thank you, Bridget. Before we go maybe into my slide, I just want people to give a chance to ask questions if there are questions so far. If yes, please raise your hand in Teams so we can see who wants to ask a question. If there's none right now, then I would just continue for the moment. Okay, I don't see any hands up. So thanks, Bridget, for asking all those questions. I mean, this is really an important exercise before you start a group, is think a little bit about what you want to achieve, who you want to gather in your group, and also to see who can help you in basically maintaining the group. So not everything has to be done by yourself. You can ask, of course, colleagues, and colleagues can be from anywhere. So your office, other offices, national statistical offices, whatever. So let me talk maybe 3 minutes or so about different use cases for groups. And I have here on this slide tried to gather all those use cases I was able to come up with. And of course, you will see that not for every use case, there's already a group existing on the global network, because the global network is still kind of new. But I have mentioned before, okay, we have now about 1,300 people on the global network, and that there are phases where the discussions on the all network feed are a little bit, there's a lot happening, and then it might be difficult to follow a certain discussion on a certain topic. So why would you create a group? So either you can have thematic discussions on a specific topic. So the common challenge that Bridget was mentioning before. We can see on the global network already a couple of groups being created around a common topic like machine learning, transport statistics, economic statistics, and household statistics. The latter two are actually not yet officially launched. They will be, so they're currently being prepared for the launch. Then you can have groups to support expert groups, technical subgroups, interagency expert groups, you name it. So this is another use case for it, and one of our groups, the CR Focal Points group, is actually supporting such a forum. Then you can have groups for regional discussion. Let's say you work in ESQA, ESCAP, ECA, ECE, or in ECLAC, so the regional commissions, and you want to have discussions, focused discussions for your region, and you can also do that in other languages. So if you use Spanish for ECLAC maybe, or Arabic for ESQA, you can do that. And Yammer has also a translation feature which helps you to link people who don't speak the same language. Then there another one which I want to point out right now is, so you can also create a knowledge base and repository of materials and recordings of webinars and so on. And we have done that with a UN Statistics Training Resources group, which is a group that is open for all UN staffers, where people share webinars and publications and so on. And then there are really a number of other use cases, for instance, to connect the data officers in the resident coordinator offices and UN country teams to the UN national statistical systems and the UN entities. So one of the main purposes why we have created the global network, you can have a hotline for a specific topic. You can accompany global consultations. You we also use the global network to support big events like the Statistical Commission and the World Data Forum. And yeah, in general, I would say there are several use cases, or you can think of use cases to better connect, collaborate, coordinate, and to develop capacity. So the 4 C's that we sometimes use in our publications and on our website. So this would be all from my side. I just saw a comment, Claudia. You cannot see our presentation. I'm not sure because I see it. I guess maybe the problem is on your side. Okay. I see one question, and then I hand over back to Bridget. There is a question about what is the advantage between Yammer and Teams, and yeah, this is in fact a question which is being asked a good number of times. So you have to think about Teams as, or let's put it this way: Microsoft has created those 2 products and tools to make collaboration easier. So this is the common theme of both tools. But Teams was created to what Microsoft calls to gather people in the inner loop. So the inner loop are basically the people with whom you work directly together on a certain project, on either in your section or branch, or maybe together with people from other organizations. But they're usually people with whom you would meet daily or really frequently to work on a common work stream. Whereas Yammer is for the communication with the outer loop. So basically, with people who might have the same interests as you, like in the case of machine learning. So people who work on machine learning and the use of artificial intelligence for official statistics, but you might not even know them. So basically, you gather around a common topic, a common theme, and to exchange information and maybe to start collaborating on those things, but you might not necessarily know those people already. So I guess that would be a short explanation for that. I can go into more detail later on if needed. Otherwise, I would hand over to Bridget again.
Thanks a lot, Alex. Okay, so you may ask how to start, because if you're convinced now that you want to create a group, you want to know how to start. So first of all, you need to decide, will this group stay forever, or is it a temporary group while you're working on a specific project or report or event? This is one thing you need to figure out at the beginning. And then you need to find a name, a short description of the purpose of the group to ensure that people understand the purpose. And you can even prepare an icon or logo for the group. Then you will need to decide if you want everyone to be able to join this group, or if you want to invite people in the group yourself. You will need to think also how to add relevant people. Are these people already on the network or not? Can they join the group on their own initiative, or will they have to receive an invitation? Then, if you identify the type of content that these kind of people would like, it will help creating the first posts. And then you will need to think about a little bit less technical things, like the level of formality or the tone you want to give to the group, and also how frequently you're planning to post. Now, concretely, if you are about to launch a group, you will need to prepare introductory posts, distribute the tasks, prepare some posts for the first days or weeks, try out the functionalities, and I will give the floor shortly to Jussi to talk about that, and schedule also time to follow the activity of the group during the first weeks and months. So now I give the floor to Jussi, who will explain to you technically how to create a group.
Okay, thank you, Bridget, and hello everyone. My name is Jussi, and I'm going to take a few minutes to introduce how to create a group from the technical perspective. So creating a group on the global network is pretty straightforward. So once you log into the network, you can see a button called create a group at the bottom left corner. Then you can choose one of the following: public access, private access, and private access with check of list in our network's directory and search results. So the general rule to determine which one you would like to proceed is public access means to collaborate with anyone in the global network, such as people who work at any other organizations. But if you choose private access, people who want to join the group needs to request the access, and the founder or the group admins need to approve. So if you would like to work with one specific project or only want a specific group of people to join, such as people inside of your team or organization, then this type of group is suitable for your needs. And just keep that in mind that there is an option for you to decide if you want your group to be seen by others or you would like to hide your group. So if you choose to hide your group, like unlisted in our network directory, then only people with group invitation link can join. So to create a group, you also need to give a group name. So the name need to be related to your topic and perhaps attractive for people to join. Normally, a short name would be good, as it could quickly tell people the main topic or purpose of this group. So next slide, please. Yeah. So then you can start to add people by typing their names or email addresses. Please note here, you can still add any new members later once you create your group. So finally, you can click on create group, then your group should be created. So after the group is created, here are several steps to basically decorate this group. So you could change the description of your group that will be shown to the rest of the network. And just keep that in mind, the group description could be searchable when a person search for a group. So please include any important keywords that will help a user to find your group. You could upload an image that will be displayed in the group header. So the image should be square and will be resized to 85 times 85 pixels. And you could also define the group theme color depending on your topic. So for instance, you can set green color for environmental topics. So next slide, please. Yeah. So one of the tips today I would like to give you is that if you are a group admin, you can make an announcement to share any important message to all group members. So just follow the step below to make your first announcement once the group is created. So the benefit for an announcement is the entire group will automatically receive an email sent by Yammer, including the announcement you posted. So please just use this function strategically to promote any activities or to inform any important information in your group. So one last suggestion is once you plan to launch your group, please contact Alexander or myself. So basically, it's not about approval or disapproval. We can, the only point here is we can provide you some further detailed guidance and perhaps provide you some suggestions based on our experience. So just let us know if you plan to launch a group, and we are here to assist. So that will be all. Now let me give the floor back to Bridget. Thanks.
Thank you, Yusi. So your group is created, and now you need to tell the world because the members are not in yet. So it is time to tell the world. So how will you do this? Make a plan. A plan where you list all the different ways of advertising the group. It could be using emails, Twitter, the global network itself, like by posting in the all network group, professional networks like LinkedIn or Xing, or UNSD brown bags, why not? EGs, TSGs, major events like the Statistical Commission and its side events, or even the World Data Forum, if you are sure that these people will be admitted in the global network, of course. Figure out if your members are already in the global network or if you will need to invite them in the global network. You can post a welcome message, at least one message per day during the first few days to ensure that people get to know about the group and they see that there is activity there. Like, react, share. Explore and test some features like question, poll, praise, announcement features, like the also announcement like Yusi just mentioned, and ask your new members to introduce themselves. Here, an example, SEEA Focal Points group has launched, and they say, welcome to the group. It asks everyone to introduce himself or herself. And that's what they did, and it worked quite well because many people introduced themselves and mentioned what their expertise was and their studies and how they could help in the group. So this is a good example of an existing group that is a closed group. So you will need to request access if you are in the global network, and depending on the relevance, you may be admitted or not. Transport statistics, this is an example of a short description that really gives the purpose of the group and focuses on, discussions around methodology and new sources of data and working on transport statistics in NSOs. So it's quite, it's not too wide. It is restrictive enough to ensure that the people who come know what they will find in there. Another group, another conversation here, someone asking for help, someone proposing help, presenting a Python library that he developed and who could be useful for anyone in the machine learning group. Now, your group is launched, you have told the world about it, and you need to monitor the group. So you are all statisticians around here, I guess. So you know how to monitor, how to evaluate, how to assess the level of engagement, the study, the insights that will be given to you on the group. On the right side of the group, you have the insights of the group. So you can better figure out what are the successful posts. You can identify some champions. And also you can, over time, assess the relevance of the group. A group can be relevant at one point, and after 6 months or 1 year, not be relevant at all anymore. Also, it can happen that a group can change focus. And if this happens, depending on if your members really want to change the focus with you, do you need to close your group and create a new one with a new focus, or do you want to keep the members and then refocus the group? In this case, you will need to communicate to your group about the new focus and communicate quite widely with an announcement or something you ensure that everyone reads because your group is changing purpose. Then you need to figure out what you consider as an active group. Some groups may be perfectly well with 2-3 posts a week. Other groups may want to be more active and get more answers to the questions people ask. So you need to decide what you consider as active. And also, if you organize activities, live activities like webinars or chats or any other kind of live activity, you can assess the level of engagement during these activities. Usually, it really improves the level of engagement. Now I want to share with you some best practices and experiences going on. And to start with, I want to give you some misconceptions about online groups. Don't imagine that because you have a big number of members, the activity level of the group will be the best. It doesn't matter. Really, if you have a very active group with 10 people interacting on a daily basis and responding and engaging, the group can be seen as completely successful. On the other hand, if you have 800 people in your group that has a very fun and engaging name, but no one talks in the group, then the group won't be successful. So getting members is one thing, making it active is another thing. And we worked a lot on that while building the global network, because at the beginning, our action was to attract new members. And quite quickly, we had to focus on how to make these people active. There's 2 stages that you need to go through. Then maybe don't think that if you open a group, people will join. This won't happen. You will need to advertise for it. And don't assume that people will make the difference between the all network page and your group. They may join the group and see the feed and never realize that they are in a group. So it is, again, very important to communicate about the purpose of the group, activities of the group, etc. Don't assume that members are inactive because they don't have time. If they are not active in the group, it's either because they don't find the group doesn't meet their needs, or because they can't find relevant information, or because the challenge has not been defined well and they cannot relate to the challenge. There are many causes of members being inactive. It's not only because they don't have time. Then a group, once it's launched, don't think it will organically grow. A group can take time to grow. Again, there is no correlation between how fast the group is growing and the success of the group. Some groups can grow very slowly and be successful still, and get very valuable and quality members as well. Don't assume that you know what is best for your members. And on a regular basis, you need to ask them what they like, how they feel, and get a feedback from your members, because they may have come for an initial to meet an initial challenge, but they may want to have other discussions going on that specific challenge. So the conversational way of interacting in a group is important. Ask feedback. Also, don't assume that active members will engage with themselves without any facilitation. This doesn't happen. You need to identify champions, co-facilitators, or other people to engage the community, because it's only after years that people will maybe engage with themselves. So even after a year or two, it's still a very good idea to have a facilitator. Now, a couple of ideas, and then, of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask the questions in the chat, and we will take the questions when I'm done presenting. Some ideas, again, using polls, live Q&As, announcements. This helps improving engagement. Establishing a routine can be also helpful if people know that every Wednesday you will have something specific posted, or you will have the advice of the week, or whatever routine. It helps people get engaged. Also review on a regular basis the goals of the group, and don't hesitate to have to share an agenda for the coming 3 months. What will happen in the group in the coming 3 months, so people can save some time for it, and they can schedule some time to be active in the group. Like everywhere else, lead with gratitude. Thank members, use the praise function. People like to be thanked when they do an effort to post something or to share something. Don't hesitate as well. It's a little bit the same thing, but to mention members. And if you see a question and you know there is a member who is active on this specific topic, don't hesitate to mention this person. He or she will receive an email saying, hey, you get mentioned in the group, and they are more likely to see the post and react. Why not making connections with members, creating a key contributors team? We have one at the Global Network as well, and the key contributors helped us a lot building up the first all network. It's very useful to have such a team. And if you see it's still not very active, ask questions, share post a native video where you're explaining about this topic or about your project, and ask people to share their thought. People like to give their opinion on things. Of course, get creative. I don't want to be longer in that, but be creative. The sky is the limit, of course. And yeah, you may, and please share with us all your ideas and what you have tested. It will be helpful for others as well to know what's going on. Now, you have launched the group, you have monitored the group, you have done everything you needed to do, but it's still not talking. What's happening? So a couple of suggestions here, things that maybe we don't think about in the first place. Maybe the content doesn't work. Maybe there is too much self-promotion, or it's maybe too much talking about events, one-way posting, not really conversational tone. It can be also a misunderstanding. Some people may come in the group and expect a listen and learn environment where they will learn about machine learning, and that's it. It's very important to repeat that the group is a conversation going on, and people should engage. This is also something that happens quite often. There might be some discomfort as well about the tone. We talked about the tone before. Is it too formal or too conversational? Depending on your audience, you need to figure out what is the right tone. And if it's still not working, maybe you need to think about going in one direction or the other and try out if it's getting better. Another point that is often linked to depending on culture as well, depending if in your audience you have supervisors and team members, everyone mixed, because you want to create a conversation about something. In some cultures, people are less used to share when there is a supervisor around, or they may be shy at some point, and ask the supervisors in this case to invite all the members to co-create, and it's very important at some point that the supervisors just open the floor, kind of strictly talking. Yeah, please go ahead, give your opinion, and maybe breaking the usual hierarchy that is going on. We talked about an agenda that can be helpful as well, to have people spare a bit of their time. And also, you are all specialized professionals working in statistics, and for some people, talking in a group can be seen as a loss of time. and people may want to do instead of talk. And this is also something you need to reinforce the benefits of a conversation going on in the group. It's not necessarily abstract, and you need to reassess this again and again. And don't forget, never forget that people want to get something out of the group. It has to be useful. It has to reply to a need. Otherwise, people are less likely to involve in a group. Okay, what works best then? Really 3 very short tips. People like helping others. Ask for help or propose your help. This will always work. And there is an example here, extracting data tables from PDF documents. Does anyone know how to do it? There were at least a dozen of replies, and it's still going on. It's working well. People like helping others. People also like learning from peers, but they need to trust these peers. And if you're together in a group, they are more likely to trust you because you are working on the same issues. So share about what you learn, and this will help people build capacities, and this will definitely engage more people, and people are more likely to share about what they learn themselves. People like getting useful information that they can act on it. This is an example from the One UN Exchange Network. Maybe some of you are members of groups there. It's the official Yammer network of the United Nations. And I found this example quite interesting. It is a language and communication course. Registration is open. Okay, it's very simple, straightforward, but it is useful, and people get a reminder about something. This is working well, and if people know, they will find this kind of information, and same applies for posting job opportunities. This is really engaging people, because they will know that in the group they will find this kind of information. They won't miss anything because it will be posted there. So they will build trust in your group or in the network or together. Okay, it's coming to an end, but don't forget, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. So if you have any questions, the floor is yours, and I'm happy to reply to any, and Yusi and Alex as well can reply to any of your questions.
Thanks so much, Bridget. I'm still typing here, trying to answer some of the questions in the chat while you were speaking. So, of course, there was a question about whether the recording and presentation will be shared. Yes, it will. We will share it on the global network. So please join us there. I'm actually just finishing a sentence. So yeah, so I posted the link to the global network, and please join there, preferably with an official email address. If not, you can also use your private email address, but then you will most likely receive an email from us asking basically who you are and why, what your connection to official statistics or to statistics and data management and so on in general is. This also brings me to basically an announcement. So we are now about half a year into the global network since its launch. At the beginning, we have said we wanted to have a little bit more focused membership. So basically, anybody in the UN system can join. So there we are really, really open. And then we said, okay, we want to have especially people from national statistical offices, national statistical systems, in general. So that could also include people from ministries, agencies, and so on at the national level. And we will want to have people working on statistics in regional and international organizations. So, but as we now approach the next World Data Forum, we wanted to extend the membership, and this will happen probably around, I don't want to promise anything, but let's say in June, July or something. We will extend the membership and broaden it so that more people from NGOs and academia and also the private sector can join. So the membership of the global network will then more resemble basically what the group or the people, types of people who are also represented on the World Data Forum. One more thing that I wanted to mention, and then we start with the questions, is Yammer in general is a tool for asynchronous conversations. So in contrast to what we have right now, so basically we are now in a call and we can all interact with each other at the same time. Of course, for a global organization as the UN, this is not always possible, as you all know, because of time differences and so on. And also, so a tool for asynchronous conversation is really, really useful to have a continuous conversation also between meetings. Maybe you know, if you work on topics like transport statistics, you can post a question regarding whatever new data sources are out there, and people will eventually answer that question. That answer might not come like in 1 hour, maybe not even in 1 day, but it will come. And the good thing is basically everybody can choose the time when they have time to answer, and I think that is really, really useful. Okay. Now I would like to come to the questions. Usually, do you have anything particular that we should answer right now?
Thank you, Alex. Just very quick, because just now I just posted on our chat box. So first thing is, because I was trying to share with all of the audience today about detailed document on creating group and managing group, but unfortunately, I don't think on the meetings chat box I'm able to do that. So we will ensure to share this document on the global network along with today's recording and the presentation. And one other thing is we also develop a website about the global network. So where you can find all of the related information, resources, and a few announcements about our incoming events. So I posted the link there, so you can also check there to find out more description about the global network. Yeah, that'll be all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is our, Yusha has shared the link to our new landing pages, and you will find the document there, which we wanted to share in the chat box, and it apparently doesn't work. But we can also send it out by email later on. So there was a question about organizing brown bag discussions and webinars in groups. So while Yammer doesn't have a dedicated function to organize webinars and groups, to organize webinars within the Yammer, you can of course use, and you should use the global network to announce those. You can use the announcement function as mentioned by Yushi. So this will trigger an email to everybody and say, hi, I'm organizing a webinar next week. Please join us. And then you can, after the webinar, you can also share the recording and the presentation as we usually do after our UNSD brown bags and the global network webinars. So as a platform for the actual live event, no, I mean, there are workarounds to do it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But you can, and you should use the global network as a means to announce those things. Yeah.
I think Wafa has a question. She's raising her hand.
Thanks, Wafa,
Yes.
over to you.
Yes, we want to thank you for the presentation. And just to clarify, so the link you just sent on the chat for people to join, they cannot join through this link, just to make it clear for everybody.
Oh, Yammer.
No, you said about something that you cannot, it doesn't work on the chat. Which was the thing that was not working on the chat?
No, we wanted to share a document which basically explains how to create groups and so on.
All
this
right.
we'll do afterwards.
So that's I invited our participants who would like to join Yammer now to do it. The link is very easy. They just click and so they can join now. And I just want to say that it has been very useful for us during this lockdown. We found out very interesting seminars and you know, it built some really professional coordination and cooperation. So, but it's not straightforward. You have to go from one thing to one thing to one thing to get to where do you wanna go. So it has been very useful, and we hope we can create a network for our economic statistics and national accounts network in the Arab region. And it will be, like we said, we can share this information in Arabic. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah,
you will get the to-do list. The document we wanted to share is a kind of to-do list that summarizes all the questions you have seen in my presentation, and you can check step by step. You can build your network, and this is a quite useful document because you don't want to take notes for everything. So that's what. But we will send it over by email.
Yeah, and I have also shared now the link to the PDF, which is online already. We might update this PDF, so you can visit our our pages on the global network, our information pages again, and we will maybe do an update in a couple of days or weeks. Yeah. One more thing, I mean, we are already a little bit of in overtime, but I still want to give people the chance to ask questions. But if you're shy and you don't want to ask right now, of course, usually we're available to ask any questions, and Bridget can probably also answer some questions if you about how to engage your users. One thing that I think is really useful is to engage people is to mention them. Bridget has already said it, but it's really a powerful tool. So if you basically somebody asks a question on the global network about something, right, and you don't know the answer, but you know the person who knows the answer, please mention that person. So that person really gets an email, says, oh, whatever, Alex Blackburn has mentioned me, so it must be something important, right? So, and then you go there and you can answer the question that has been posted there. So it's a good way to include experts that maybe are not active on the network every single day. So this is also a good way. As mentioned also before, currently we have some groups which are being prepared for their launch. And yeah, those people are already in contact with us, and we are of course here to help. So please reach out if you have any questions, especially around the question how to make people join your group, right? So I don't want to go into too many details, but then it really depends on what the group you want to have, what group you want to have in your group on the global network. And then there are different ways of approaching those people and make them join. If there are no other questions, I would have just one final remark is if you encounter or if you know that some people have an issue joining the global network for whatever reason, they follow the link that you provide or that we provided, and they receive an error message, please let us know. We know in a very limited number of networks, there are some settings in their IT environment which prevent people from joining. We had such cases also in some international organizations like OECD. So for instance, if you have colleagues from the OECD who want to join, they basically need to ask for permission within the OECD to be able to go to the global network. So those things can happen, and please let us know, and then we can help you a little bit to identify what the problem might be and how to work around it. Usually in the worst case scenario, people can join with a private email, and then it usually works. Okay, that would be all from my side. I don't know if Richard, usually if you still have some famous last words. Otherwise, thanks everybody for joining. Please reach out to us, ask us questions. That's our job basically, to answer your questions on how to create groups, and think about a good purpose for your group. I think that's the best thing that you can do. Thanks everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.